Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Actually, this morning, technically, I think. I don't know. It's too early. Or late. No, it's technically too late now because it's only 12 for me. So, I have a valid point here. Um, so yeah, as you probably could tell, it's 12:50 in the morning. And I have some stuff to do, but you know what? I'm watching a rocket launch. I want to take you guys along with me. So right now we're gonna listen into the mission control audio to see if there's a hold or anything. Right now everything is looking fine, at least from what I know. And yeah, we're just gonna sit here, chill for a little bit, and yeah. So let's talk about that Starship launch. SN9? No? Alright, let's go. SN9 had a fantastic launch. Landing not so well though. Yeah, the landing wasn't really the best. I'm gonna be real with you. But overall, it was a pretty good launch. So I mean, there's nothing else you really complain about. So yeah. Oh God, sorry about this. Oh, that's not correct. Everything is messed up right there. Sorry about that. So anybody that just started watching or anything right now is gonna be chilling. We still are at least around, I think, 20. No, we're about to be 19 minutes away, so not too long. No.
SN9.
Yeah, we're around 22 minutes away, so we should be able to just sit back, relax, chill out. Also, I'm gonna try and make this higher quality so it's not garbage. There we go. So SN9 had a spectacular flight, but it didn't do the landing correctly, which is okay, I guess. They're still testing it. They're only, as John in Innsbruck, Jesus, all right, is John in what's his name? Innsbruck? I don't remember his name. As he said, that was the second flight that they've had in that configuration of Starship, which what he means by that is with flaps, nose cone, and I would assume header tanks. So yeah, if anybody's curious about what happened on the flight, like on the landing portion, one of the Raptors didn't relight, so that's what happened. From what reasons, we think it might just been an engine problem, but it could be more than just an engine problem. But I mean, on the SpaceX website, it even said that it was just an engine problem. If we go down here, one of the Raptor engines did not relate. caused S9 to land at high speed and experience RUD, rapid unscheduled disassembly. These test flights. So yeah, it didn't relight. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Haha. No relight. See, when Raptors don't relight, it's not good. Well, after this stream, I'm gonna go to sleep. That's for sure. Wow, I am tired.
Stage 2 RP1 load is complete.
If you just heard that, stage 2 RP1 load is complete, and RP1 is the main fuel that they use for fuel, and RP1 is just highly refined jet fuel, pretty much. And then their oxidizer that they use, they use RP1 for both the first stage and the second stage, and the oxidizer that they use is liquid oxygen. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Does anybody know how to like get Snapchat like in like dark mode? Cause like when it's like in the morning and like sometimes you just don't want to like you know just don't even want to you don't want to blind your eyes out of it, so it's yeah. Hope it's shaking. Oh, I'm gonna get back music playing. No, thank you. I just got the notification that SpaceX is live. There we are. I don't know if it's copyrighted or not, so our own music is gonna happen though. Alright, now we're going to listen in to the SpaceX audio.
Canaveral Space Force Station, Florida. My name is Kate Tice, and I'm a senior certification engineer here at SpaceX, joining you from our headquarters in Hawthorne, California. You're watching a live webcast for our 18th Starlink mission and our 4th launch of 2021. As many of you know, February is Black History Month here in the United States. Since 1976, the United States has designated the month of February as a time to recognize and celebrate the critical roles that Black people have had and continue to have in shaping our shared history. Here at SpaceX, we've encouraged everyone to celebrate, learn, and discuss the ways our industry has benefited from the work of Black Americans, and we encourage you to do the same. Speaking of work, the Starlink team has been hard at work in preparation for today's launch, as well as another Starlink launch that's set for about 24 hours from now at our neighboring launch pad 39A. As many of you know, Starlink is a constellation of satellites that can provide high-speed, low-latency internet all over the globe, particularly in remote or rural areas where connectivity is limited or completely unavailable. Over time, we continue to expand our coverage area as we launch more satellites. If you're interested in knowing if Starlink is available in your area, you can check that out by visiting starlink.com. At this point, we're currently at T-minus 9 minutes and 45 seconds and have been making forward progress in the countdown. About 45 minutes ago, at the T-minus 1 hour mark, our chief engineer held a technical poll. About 20 minutes later, our launch director held a propellant load and launch readiness go, no-go poll. With our team's go for launch, Falcon 9 started loading propellants at T-minus 35 minutes. Weather at the launch site is looking great, but we are keeping our eyes on weather for our recovery operations out in the Atlantic Ocean. But as of now, all systems are green for an on-time liftoff of 1:19 a.m. Eastern. With that, let's take a closer look at that rocket you see on your screen. You're looking at a live view of Falcon 9 standing 229 feet tall, which is slightly taller than a 21-story building. Falcon 9 is a reusable two-stage rocket designed and manufactured by SpaceX for the reliable and safe transport of people and payloads into Earth orbit and beyond. And if you happen to be down in the Cape Canaveral area right now, you'd notice that we have not one, but 2 rockets currently vertical, as you see there, one on each of our pads. On the left-hand side
No,
is the
this is what
Starlink
my,
mission that's set to take off just a
hold
couple
on.
minutes from now. And on the right is another Starlink
This is
mission
what my,
at our pad 39A at
desktop
Kennedy
background
Space
is.
Center.
Is 2
And that
Falcon
mission
9s.
is currently targeted to
So
launch
they
this
have this
Friday.
again, which
These
is
2 launches
pretty,
will mark
not
our 4th
rare,
and
but
5th launches
nothing we
already
usually see
for
is 2 Falcon
2021.
9s just
So
chilling.
clearly a busy start, but
Well,
off to a great
this
start.
one's technically
Hopefully you can join
chilling.
us for our next Starlink
Literally.
mission later this week.
And this one's just
Getting back to
vibing.
today's mission,
I don't know.
starting at the base of your screen, you can see the bottom 2/3 of the V9's first stage has thrust greater than 5 747 airplanes at full power, consuming 700 gallons of fuel per second. With the help of 9 Merlin engines, its objective is to accelerate the vehicle through the Earth's atmosphere to space and then separate from the rest of the rocket at about 2.5 minutes into flight. From there, it'll make its way back to Earth, and we're targeting a drone ship landing there you see on your screen, our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. For reference, our drone ships
Oh my god.
are equivalent to the size of a football field. If successful, this will mark our 74th recovery of an orbital class rocket. Above the first stage is the second stage, and that has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine, which ignites after the first stage separates. At full power, the Merlin vacuum engine operates with the greatest efficiency ever for an American-made hydrocarbon rocket engine. The second stage is what will carry our Starlink satellites to orbit. And there at the top of the rocket, you'll also notice the large nose cone. That is the satellite fairing. The fairing houses the Starlink satellites and protects them until the vehicle is outside the Earth's atmosphere, at which point the fairing separates to expose the satellites to space. Today, we are using a flight-proven fairing. Each half has flown once before, and we will be attempting to recover each of them again by retrieving them from the water using our vessels that you see there on screen, Ms. Chief and Ms. Tree. And lastly, the large truss structure that you see there next to the rocket is the Transporter Erector, or TE. We use it to roll the rocket out to the pad and raise it to its vertical launch position. The TE also routes the vehicle's fluids, power, and telemetry umbilicals from the ground systems to the rocket and satellites until F9 goes on internal power and clears the pad. At liftoff, it will retract in order to clear the way for Falcon 9's ascent. And a rare occurrence for tricky Florida weather around the Space Coast, tonight our probability of violating launch commit criteria is 1% or less. But like I said, we are keeping our eye on the weather out in the Atlantic Ocean for our recovering operations. With that, the vehicle, satellites, the weather, and the range are all looking good for an on-time liftoff just a few minutes from now. Starlink is now delivering beta service both domestically and internationally, and the team will continue to push toward near global coverage of the populated world in 2021. During our beta program, users can expect to see data speeds vary from 50 megabits per second to 150 megabits per second, along with brief periods of no connectivity, and latency from 20 milliseconds to 40 milliseconds in most locations. As we launch more satellites, install more ground stations, and improve our networking software, data speed, latency, and uptime will all improve dramatically. Starlink is available to a limited number of users at this time, but if you're interested in finding out if Starlink is available in your neighborhood, head over to starlink.com. At this point, we are at T-minus 4 minutes and 30 seconds from liftoff, and Falcon 9 is now moving into the final stages of the countdown. We're currently waiting for the Transporter Erector, or that TE, to retract. That's the painted white structure there next to the vehicle. And once it retracts, it may have already, there we go. We heard the call out, and you can see the cradle arms there, and it's moving to its pre-launch position, which is about 2 degrees away from the rocket. At liftoff, hydraulics will move that TE to a position of 45 degrees from the rocket. If you listen closely, you might be able to hear the hiss and pop of pressure venting from the vehicle and the plumbing in the Transporter Erector. And that's all completely normal. this point in time, the first and second stages are both nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Super chilled liquid oxygen is our propellant oxidizer, and it's that super chilled LOX that is creating those white clouds that you see there around Falcon 9. That happens when that super chilled liquid oxygen comes into contact with the ambient air around it. And there we heard the call, strong back retraction is complete. So the first stage should be finishing up that prop load here in 10 seconds at T-minus 3 minutes, and second stage will wrap up prop load at T-minus 2 minutes. At T-minus 60 seconds, we'll hear the call out that Falcon 9 is in startup. This means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. Just inside of T-minus 2 seconds, we light the Merlin M1D engines. We use T-Tab as our ignition fluid. When it mixes with oxygen, it burns a bright green-colored flame. We then allow the fuel into the thrust chamber, and the engine comes up to full power for liftoff at T0.
Stage 1 LOX load complete.
And there we hear the call out that stage 1 LOX load is complete. Second stage will be wrapping up momentarily. The Starlink payloads continue to be healthy, and the F9 team tracking no issues with the rocket. Like I mentioned before, less than 1% chance of violating our our weather rules at the Space Coast launch site there you see. But we are keeping our eyes on the weather around our recovery operations. And the range has cleared the surrounding ground, water, and airspace and are green for launch. Now, if for some reason we don't get to launch today, we do have a backup opportunity on February 5th at 12:58 a.m. Eastern Time. Like I mentioned, both the first and second stages are now fully loaded with propellant. The white cloud that you see venting there is just...
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
Oh, there we heard the call, final confirmation for that stage 2 LOX load. And the white cloud there is just the leftover liquid oxygen in the load lines there in the transporter erector, vaporizing as they come into contact with the ambient air. In just a few seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup, and the first and second stages will begin to pressurize for launch.
Falcon 9's in startup.
Got scared.
There we heard the call out. Falcon 9 is in startup. The onboard flight computers have taken over the launch countdown.
T-minus 45 seconds, I'll just go for launch.
There we heard it, our final go for launch today. At this point in time, we are green for today's launch. Let's listen in to the terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 takes
30 seconds.
our stack of Starlink satellites into orbit.
Did those lights just cut off? That's funny. Here we go.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 chamber pressure is nominal.
There we see Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying our stack of Starlink satellites into orbit. There we just heard that power and telemetry are all nominal. We're going to throttle the engines down in preparation for max Q. And this is the largest structural load that the vehicle will see during ascent, so slowing the vehicle down a little helps during that short period. Max Q coming up here in just a couple of seconds.
max Q.
There we heard the call out for max Q. Now, over in about a minute, the next 3 events will be happening back to back. First, we have main engine cutoff, or MECO, and that's where all 9 of the M1D engines that are currently firing will shut down. And this will help slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation, which is event number 2.
Stage 1 is following a nominal trajectory.
And as the name suggests, stage SEP is where the first and second stages will separate from each other. And the first stage will start to make its way back down to Earth for landing on our drone ship, while second stage continues its journey with the third event, SES-1, or Second Engine Start 1. This is where the MVAC engine will light up and begin to propel the second stage along with those Starlink satellites to orbit. And that main engine cutoff event is taking place in about 10 seconds. Great shot there of the vehicle prior to MECO.
Main engine cutoff.
Looks
Stage
chilly
separation
in there.
confirmed.
All right, all 3 of those events happening in quick succession prior to MVAC ignition there that you see. Caught a glimpse of, and on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see the Space Coast illuminated by the night lights. That's an awesome shot there as we see the grid fins beginning their deployment. So everything looking great there on second stage.
Bearing separation confirmed.
We heard the verbal call out, and
Both
there on your
vehicles are
screen you can
following
see.
nominal trajectories.
All right, great news all around. We had fairing separation. Those we'll be attempting to recover those using our
Is
recovery
that
vessels, and we
stage
heard
one
everything looking
telemetry?
nominal
They
for
never
both
do
first
that.
and second stages.
Genuinely, they never do that.
Dark on the left-hand side of your screen there as the Space Coast night lights
What is
fade out of
this?
view,
They
but that
have
first
stage
stage
1
is going
and
to
stage 2
be coming back
telemetry.
down
They
and making a
literally never
landing.
do this. Like
And
1,
in order to do
2.
so, it'll
They
be
never do this. I don't
executing
know
2
why they're just
burns
doing it now.
in order to make that drone ship landing. The first burn is the entry burn, where 3 of the M1D engines will reignite. This will help to slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere. The second burn is the landing burn, and that is
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
a single engine burn where we will reignite the center engine, and that will help bring the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to make a soft landing on our drone ship. Of course, I still love you. Everything continues to look great there. Trajectory looking nominal for second stage. Bright white glow coming from that MVAC nozzle. So at this point in time, the first
Both
stage,
vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
the first stage is now beginning to descend back to Earth. It is equipped with 4 hypersonic grid fins that are positioned near the top of the first stage. We don't have any light illuminating the vehicle at the moment, so can't really make them out on camera. So we're providing you views of our second stage instead. But those grid fins that we saw deploy earlier are what stage 1 uses to help steer as the stage makes its way back to Earth. They help orient and guide the booster during re-entry and during descent. Additionally, the first stage will occasionally use nitrogen gas bursts for attitude control. And less visible at night, but certainly during our daytime launches, you can see them as little white puffs near the top of the rocket. Falcon 9 first stage is also equipped with 4 landing legs, and we make those using state-of-the-art carbon fiber with aluminum honeycomb. And those are placed symmetrically around the base of the rocket and deploy just a few seconds prior to landing. So we're expecting that entry burn to begin in 5 seconds.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Stage 1, entry burn startup.
All right, so this 20-second burn has just begun. And you can see that there on the left-hand side of your screen. If you look closely, you might be able to see those grid fins actuate to assist
Stage 1, entry burn shutdown.
steering of that stage 1, and as you just heard, shutdown of that entry burn. That is the
Both
first of
vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
that is the first of 2 burns that first stage will perform today. Good news there that both vehicles are following nominal trajectories. That landing burn will take place in just under a minute. Because this landing is a drone ship landing instead of a land landing or return to launch site landing, there's only two burns required for this landing attempt as opposed to 3, because the first stage follows an arc. There is no boost back
Entry transonic.
there is no boost back or flip maneuver required. So only 2 burns being executed today. Everything continuing to look nominal there with the second stage as it carries our stack of Starlink satellites.
So I want to see how fast it's going. So it's going. Well, they even cloud.
And that landing burn out. There we have a shot of the drone ship holding position in the Atlantic Ocean.
Landing burn startup.
And there we can see the lights beginning to illuminate the platform and the waters around.
Wow.
Stage 2 has entered terminal
Stage
guidance.
1, landing leg deploy.
Okay, let's see if we're able to stick this landing.
Yep. Right on target.
Looks pretty good. There we can see the first stage has landed. This marks the
Stage 2 FTS is safety.
This marks the 74th successful recovery of an orbital class rocket and the 5th recovery for that particular booster that you see there. So that's all great news for the first stage. Turning our attention to the second stage there. Second engine cutoff is expected momentarily.
I need to get to sleep, so everybody that's watching, thank you for watching. It's really much appreciated. Yeah, either way, I might stream the launch tomorrow in the morning. If I do, please tune in. You don't have to. We would really appreciate it though. But anyways, hope everybody has a great morning, night, evening, anything, whatever. And yeah, peace out, everybody.